Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we are thrilled to have back on a frequent guest, Renato Paiva. He is the Executive Director of Access Youth Academy. Renato, it's always good to see you.
Good to see you, Drew.
How you been?
Awesome.
Good. Survived the rain?
Yes.
That's very, very important. And more importantly, the kids did too?
They did, yes. Thanks for asking.
Absolutely. Talk about the mission of Access Youth Academy.
Access Youth Academy is an after-school program that serves low-income students in our region using education and the very famous sport of squash.
It's growing in popularity, is it not?
It is.
Right.
Especially now, the news came out about 2 months ago. The squash now is an Olympic sport.
Right, exactly. And Renato was a national champion. And so are you going to be going out for the Olympics?
Well, I think I'm about 20 years past.
I don't. It's just a number, Renato. Just a number.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty exciting for you, isn't
Very.
it? That's right. And you've been playing it since you were a young kid, correct?
Yeah, I'm from Brazil originally.
Right.
So I played for my country for many years.
Right.
That's how I actually learned to speak English, because I travel so much to play squash.
Right.
But then landed in the U.S. I coached in college. And then after coaching in Boston at Harvard, I moved to San Diego.
Right, exactly. And that's how all this sort of started. You hooked up with an iconic gentleman in San Diego. I'm honored to call him a longtime friend and a colleague, and that's Blair Sadler, who was, again, an iconic CEO of Radiant Children's Hospital. It was Children's Hospital at the time, now Radiant Children's Hospital. Talk about how you guys crossed paths and look what's going on since 2006.
Yeah. The short version of the story is that I was working at Harvard and I learned about this movement called the Urban Squash Movement, which is helping low-income kids to go to a better life through the sport of squash. But I was in Boston, but my wife's from Orange County, and we want to go back to California. And then there was a group of folks here in San Diego looking to find a leader. And then Blair and Greg Sherman and a few others got in touch with me. I flew in. They hired this young Brazilian, and the rest is history.
It's all good history, too. And, of course, Blair played squash when he was in college and still does, I imagine, in that aspect of it. Talk about, and we'll get to the academics, so forth, and obviously, you folks, that's more than just squash. The academics come right with it. But we're not talking about your average squash player. You guys are just on top shelf. We'll talk about that, too. But what makes squash such a great sport to play and connected to academics?
Yeah, so squash is historically a sport play. People that have some money, and we have changing the barriers to do this. It's a great sport to play for many reasons. Number one is 1v1. Once you close the door behind you, nothing can save you. No one can help you. It kind of is a very true sport.
Right.
It's called the human chess, meaning it's very intelligent. If you know what you're doing with your brain, you can save your legs, and doesn't matter if you're tall, short, big, small. Squash works for you. So any kid really that wants to put the time to get a little better, they can find a way through it.
Is it played on like a racquetball court? What type of court is it played on?
Drew, if you look at squash court, they look very similar,
right?
But the dimensions are a little bit different.
Okay.
And the big thing that squash courts has a lower limit and upper limit.
Okay.
Imagine a racquetball court with a little strip in the front like a net,
right,
which we call the tin.
Right.
And then there's lines on the top. If the ball touches the wall on the top,
it's out of bounds.
It's out of bounds.
I got you. And if below the line, also out of bounds?
So below that tin, if the ball hits the tin, it's called the tin because it makes a sound.
Oh, it does, okay.
And then the ball's out.
Right, exactly. So you come to San Diego, you meet Blair Sadler.
Yeah.
He says, I think we got something going on here. 2006. And when did you start finding the students. You work with the folks up at UCSD, do you know?
The Pro School, yeah.
Right.
That was our big, the partnership with Doris Alvarez and then Scott Barton. That was the beginning of it. We have a class of 18 kids. That was the first cohort. I was the only FT for 3 years. So it was very close, a close family. We studied together, we trained together, and pretty soon, I'll tell you a quick story.
Please.
6 months into our journey, they were playing for 6 months. Kids had never seen play squash before. We're playing a group of 5 girls. We played our first national tournament in New York City, in Harlem.
Wow.
And we lost our first game, and then we won the consolation bracket. And then when the match was over, tournament was over, we collected our consolation trophy. They were looking at the winners, the team from Harlem, the local team. And then I let them sit there and sink in, like, oh, look at these girls beating us. And then we trained for 1 more year. And then when I'm signing us up for the tournament the following year, we were 14 years old. We should be playing the 15 and under. The girls told me, Coach, we want to play the 19s and under. I said, girls, let's try to win the 15s. Coach put us with the big girls. So we played that year the 15s and the 19s, and we won both.
Wow.
And then from that point on, that team never lost a match in the history of our time playing it.
That's phenomenal. So when you were first starting this in 2006, where did you play the squash? Did you play up at UCSD?
Nope. We had a partner squash club called San Diego Squash in Mira Mesa.
Okay.
That club's no longer open. After that club shut down, we moved to UCSD, the REMAC. We play squash there.
Sure.
And now we have our brand new 2-year-old facility in Southeast San Diego with 8 courts. It's beautiful.
Right, exactly. We're chatting with Renato Paiva. He is the Executive Director of Access Youth Academy. I'm Drew Schlosberg from Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing great things in San Diego for now more than 6 decades. So now you had to have buy-in from Doris, and I was honored to work with Doris when I was at San Diego Unified a billion years ago. And Doris was a very, very storied principal at Hoover High, and then went over to the Preuss School at UCSD, and the numbers of the kids excelling in academics is off the charts. When were they doing their academics before they played squash, or they did it after they played squash? How'd that work?
That's a good question. So our model is every time the kids come to us, to our after-school program, they spend half of the time studying, half of the time training.
Right.
So we basically split the first cohort, 20 kids, 18, 20 kids, 10 and 10, 10 of training, 10 of studying. Half time they switch.
Right. Gotcha. And right now, how many do you have?
Among all our programs, just under 300.
Oh, my goodness. And are the programs all here in San Diego? I know we're going to talk about you opening up something in LA, but are they here or are they all over?
So most of our kids are here in San Diego. We just have a small cohort of about 20 in LA right now.
Right. Congratulations. When did you start that?
A couple of months ago. We just launched it.
Okay, yeah. And we'll jump a little bit ahead on the agenda here. And there was some method to your madness for doing that, correct?
Yeah.
And that's a thing called the Olympics, right?
Well, that helped. Squash got into Olympics. It's in LA.
Right.
So the Olympics this year in Paris.
Right.
No squash.
Okay.
But LA 28, we are there. And we're in the middle of the preparation. Axe is actually part of the group, along with US Squash and the WSF, which is the World Squash Federation. We're part of the group that is working on the grassroots of our sport in LA. How
exciting. So now, but the folks that are playing this, you talk about this, an urban youth squash, consortium, and you found out about that when you were back at Harvard. Is that correct?
Correct.
How many of these youth groups are going on? Obviously, San Diego, you've grown it since 2006. How many are around the country?
There's about 22 programs like ours around the country, and about 30 international.
Interesting. And do they all have the same model where it is you're playing squash and there's some type of academics?
Correct. So the American ones are more academic focused, just like us. It's a 50-50.
Right.
The international ones are a little more focused on squash. For example, last week I was in Philadelphia at the national tournament, and there was a gentleman that runs the program in South Africa. 1,000 kids at Soweto.
Wow.
And they basically only squash. And the path to out of poverty is through the sport, not through the academics piece.
Right. Well, sports can do both for you in that aspect, as we've seen. So, Renato, is it a focus on a certain time of academics? I know STEM is really important, to say the least. STEAM, actually, more important. If I can throw my own 2 cents in there, you can give me change back on that. What type of academics are they learning, or is it all over the board?
So when we recruit, Drew, we are blind on their grades, which is one of our strategies.
Right.
We don't want to give a kid a better or worse chance because of their grades. So they can be straight A's or they can be straight F's.
Right.
We don't know. So we meet them where they are.
Right.
And then our academic team, led by Sarah Reed and her whole team, they do a great job bringing them back to where they would be. To compete in our tournaments, our kids must be a 3.5 or above.
Wow.
So if you're a little behind that, you catch up among the years. Our national team that we just took to Philadelphia, they're all 4.0 girls.
And how many did you take back?
6.
Wow. So now you've got 300, give or take, that under your realm here, 20 up in L.A. Are the rest in San Diego County?
Yes.
Pretty much, right. And so with them, what parts of the county do they come from?
So we have 18 partner schools.
Right.
Most of them are around Southeast San Diego because we're located there.
Right.
But we don't turn kids away if they come. Example, we had a kid that tried out. She was in Carlsbad.
Right.
And she really wanted part of it. Met to her mom and said, "Mom, are you sure? I'll drive whatever it takes." So she made part of the team.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so with that, is that you're pulling from these 18 schools in the Southeast area, middle schools, high schools, both?
Used to be elementary. Used to be middle and high. And now we expand to elementary too. So we get kids as early as 5th grade.
Okay, right. And how long? What's the longest a kid's been in the program? So you started in 2006. Have you had a kid that started in 5th grade? Maybe that in 2006 you didn't grab 5th graders at the time. Can they be in the whole time?
Yeah, so 2 things. First of all, our program now is a 14-year program. And let me explain that to you.
Please.
We have kids from 5th to 12th grade, which we call phase 1. Happens what I told you, practice every day.
Right.
Then they graduate and they go to college. That we call the phase 2, 4 years of college.
Right.
And then they graduate college and go to 2 years post-college. We help them with jobs or grad school. So among those 14 years is what we serve them. And always for free. They don't pay a penny.
Wow.
Back in the days, we did not go as back at 5th grade. It was in 7th grade.
Right.
Our oldest alum, I think she's turning 31 this year.
Wow. And is she continuing her squash?
Yes.
Okay.
Some of them played at a high level. Okay. Many of them play college squash.
Interesting.
So let me explain this to folks listening.
Please.
The same way we have college basketball and college football, there's college squash.
Of course. Is it an NCAA sport?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
So you get recruited.
Right.
So in our journey, many of our kids got recruited to play squash. And so we had kids play at Penn, Columbia. We have one at Stanford right now. We have a bunch of kids playing. And then some play casually. Some just play for fun. We have one national champion in our program, which we had 13 in history in our program.
Wow.
She went to UC Davis. There's no college program at UC Davis. But there's squash courts. So she used squash to play with her professors and engage with her professors. So she was very popular among the faculty because of her squash skills.
Oh, no, I think that's fantastic. We're chatting with Renato Paiva. He is the Executive Director of Access Youth Academy. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Spotlight on the Community, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We come back from break. I want to talk about the national tournament of those girls that competed in it. Certainly, you folks have unbelievably great metrics over the years on the success of this program, not only from a sports standpoint, from an academic standpoint, and just the whole well-being of the student. I want to talk about that as well. And then get a little bit more into the LA 2028 Olympics. How's that sound?
You got it.
You bet. We're going to be right back with Renato Paiva, Executive Director of Access Youth Academy. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast. We're now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, broadcasting from these really cool Mission Fed studios and Scripps Ranch at Mission Fed for more than 6 decades. Been just doing wonderful things in our community. Honored to have in the studio with us Renato Paiva, Executive Director of Access Youth Academy since 2006. Been doing amazing things for our students in our community, linking squash in with academics. And, well, let's talk, before we get into the metrics, which are just off the charts on your success. Congratulations to you and the whole team on the singing night. You worked very hard on that, and I'm very proud of it. Talk about the girls' team that came second place in the Nationals.
Yeah, this year we went to Philadelphia.
Yes.
Played at the National Center, which is a beautiful location in Philly. Over 420 competitors playing the weekend. We played the high school A division, the top division of the girls.
Right.
Last year we got third place. This year we wanted to snatch first. Made the finals. Had a close encounter, but we came out second.
So is a squash, is it a best out of 5? Is it first who wins 3 sets, or what do you call them?
You're right. We call it games,
Okay.
but it's 3. It's a best of 5. First to win 3 wins your match.
Right.
On a national event like this, it's 5-girl, 5-man team. So the 1s play, the 2s play, the 3 play. So you got to win.
Like tennis, so to speak.
You got it.
Like seated like that way. And the game's 15 points. What are the games?
11 points.
11 points. Okay, very good. And then do you have to win by 2?
If it's 10-0, it's a win by 2.
You have to win by 2. All right. It's all coming back to me. I'm a former sports writer.
There we go.
So and you said did never play. I'm trying to think if I ever played squash. I would know if I played squash.
You can still do it. Just come over to Access.
I might have to do that over here. As long as you have wheelchair and ice and bandages ready, I'm in on that. You guys have been very, very true to the mission since 2006. When you said they took, a chance on this Brazilian guy, and really congratulations to this great success. The numbers are just astonishing. Your graduation rate and what the kids are doing. Talk about that.
Yeah, we've been. I think we've been very happy and proud. We have 100% graduation rate. In 92% of our kids going to college, get out of college debt-free, which is another big metric.
It's fantastic.
As well as in our squash area. I mention this because it's relevant to the admission to college. We have 13 national champions. If you become good and proficient in playing squash, you then can get a better scholarship.
Right.
So I think we've done both good in the academic side and the squash side.
Right, exactly. And the students come some from very challenged areas. Maybe all of them do, if you look at the 300 in that aspect of it. So it's a free program. That's great, supported by great sponsors and so forth. And, certainly you're very magnanimous about shouting out those sponsors and so forth. And I'd be remiss if we didn't give Blair Sadler a high five, and then my good friend and longtime friend Susan Taylor, iconic news anchor, 739, works for Scripps now, doing great communications work, and she's been just a huge advocate for you guys as well. Talk about, here it is, 2006. You're new to San Diego. Here we are 18 years later, 17 years, I guess, depending on how you look at it. Man, this thing is just, everyone knows about you guys. Well, not quite everybody, right? You can never have enough. Talk about how that trajectory and why that went this way so fast.
Drew, coming from coaching squash now to leading in a nonprofit like Access has been really exciting, but new for me how to go, especially fundraise and do this.
Right.
So when we came here, our budget was about $118,000.
Right.
Now we have about 1.8 million.
Right.
So fundraising is a big piece.
Of course.
The board is incredible, led by Blair for so many years. Many others, Mary Walshock, Susan Taylor, many other great folks. It is a continuous challenge.
Correct.
Incredible support from many grantors in town, but we cannot stop. There's so much more we can do, and the bottleneck is money.
Right.
So the more we have, the more we can serve.
Right, exactly. Do you get some of this from foundations, from grants as well, from individual donors?
Yeah, so the grants and the foundation piece, I think it's a strong side of our pie chart of fundraising. Individuals continue to be a strong asset of us. We have our gala coming up April 13th, which we'll love to have a great evening that day.
Right.
As well as we have something called Earn Revenue now. It's a great point. So because of our new facility, Drew, we can now have members of the community being squash players, and they pay a membership to our club. And all these monies go back to our kids.
Right, exactly. How much does the membership cost?
It varies, but average about $90.
Okay, for the whole year.
For the month.
Okay, still relatively.
But if you are from the community, and you are not able to do this, we are able to subsidize some of that. So we kind of there's a sliding scale.
Sure.
And if you're part of our club, you can play squash every day, especially on rainy days. You can really come in.
Right.
But you have a league, tournaments, lessons. It's a great facility.
Right. No, I think that's great. And are any of our universities, do they have squash as a sport at all, or is it a club sport?
So this is actually something that I really want to talk about.
Yes.
UCLA and USC are club sports.
Right.
I believe there's a big opportunity. So for the folks listening from San Diego State, USC and UCSD and others, this is a cheap program to put together. And the ramification, the consequence of doing this can be great, especially with the Olympics. I coached at Harvard for 2 years, and our number one in the world, currently in the world, came from Harvard. And I think it's not hard to get an Olympian to come from these programs.
Right.
So what an opportunity to invest minimum amount of money and with a lot of ROI. So anyone from the schools listening, think about putting squash as a new sport in your roster.
Right. So have you chatted with any of the athletic directors at San Diego State or USD or UCSD about it? You know Earl Edwards, he's a great guy.
Oh my goodness, introduce me to them. I'd love to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Earl's, I can do that, at least in a few of these aspects of it. We're chatting with Renato Paiva. He's the Executive Director of Access Youth Academy. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We're the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, continuing to do great things in San Diego for more than 6 decades. So the Olympics are coming in 28, okay? And so squash is it called an experimental sport? How does that work?
Well, you know about sports.
That's right.
Because if you made that comment, you know that concept of a trial sport is no longer in place.
Right. Good. Okay.
So now is if you're in. That said, you have to for the first 3 Olympics, you have to reapply for the other one.
Right.
So currently, squash is fighting for 2032 in Brisbane.
Right. What makes it over the top to say you're coming back? What do you have to prove?
So this is the inside baseball, inside squash now to you. The decision's made 6 months prior to the Olympics.
Okay.
So it's not how the actual sport performed at the Olympics.
Right.
That's not a metric.
Right. It's how it's doing. Yeah.
It's how it's doing locally.
Yeah.
That's why our work in LA is relevant. So once again, working with US Squash, our main partner in this, is pivotal to grow our sport in the community. But I'm very confident that we're going to be doing a good job in 28. And in 2032 in Brisbane, I am hopeful that one of our kids in our access program in San Diego might be playing the Olympic Games.
No, that's great. Are you going to be offer your services as an assistant coach to the Olympic team in 2028?
That would be, if I cannot play the Olympics, I might.
You are going to play
it.
the Olympics. I know you are. You're good enough to do that. I'm sure you are. So is it easy to convert a racquetball court to squash? Is that the easiest route, or just start it over and build them?
No, there is a lot of courts in the U.S. that are converted.
Right.
So all the racquetball courts are not being used much. Squash will love to go there and convert them. You just basically what you do is you bring the back wall forward.
Okay, right.
I don't know the number exactly, but U.S. Squash has done a tremendous job converting thousands of courts along the years.
Right.
So that's one way to grow the sport.
Right, exactly. Talk about the different mechanics. Is the ball smaller? Is the racket different? Talk about are the rules. I mean, you mentioned about there is a height limit that there isn't in racquetball, and there's if you hit the tin, you're out of bounds, so to speak.
Correct.
You know? Yeah.
So the racquetball is very lively. It's a little larger and bounces everywhere.
Okay. Right.
Squash ball is a little smaller.
Okay.
And it bounces less. It's squishy.
Gotcha.
And
Right.
it bounces less.
Right.
Which makes the sport more refined.
Right.
So if you play a drop shot in squash, the ball is going to stay all the way in the front. You're going to make your opponent run all the way to the front.
Right.
And you can use all the angles.
Right.
And you can hit the ball really hard. It's 175 miles an hour.
Right.
Is how fast the ball goes.
Right.
It's a very intelligent sport. In racquetball, power matters more than in squash.
Right.
Squash intelligence matters more.
Are there a lot of drop shots in squash?
That's my style, Drew.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that with the a ball that's going to die right in front over there. You know, it'll be a little more lively in racquetball, of course. Hard to do a drop shot in racquetball.
You're right. Racquetball use angles more.
Yeah.
In squash, you can use the softness of the ball makes a big difference.
So the students that you're working with now, and then 300 of them, or 280, I should say, 220 in Los Angeles, do they get a chance to practice at home when they're not going to the after-school program? Do they get their own squash rackets, and how does that work?
Yeah, good question. We give them all the equipment. So all these kids have rackets and they have balls and goggles. So training at home is a little stretch because you cannot use. If they're training in their bedrooms, moms are not going to be happy.
It'll be the last time you'll see my son
right.
in Access Youth Academy. We don't want that, right? Exactly.
But our club's always open. They can always come. But I do think you see sometimes kids coming with their rackets in off days and doing.
Right.
So they kind of like have their racket. They can play against any wall.
Right.
I just don't hope they don't do it at home because it makes a mark.
Right, and there are places, at the schools where they have, outside walls set up for people to practice tennis and all that stuff. They can use those at least to get some of the shots down. Correct.
Yeah.
And every school, has that aspect of it. So with all of this, what can our listeners do to certainly amplify what the great work you're doing?
Most importantly, come see what we do. I think if there's a synergy, if you want to see very committed students, very committed families in an organization that is willing to work very hard to improve their lives, you must take a look at Access Youth Academy. Come see our facility. It's in Southeast San Diego, 704 Euclid Ave. And then if you like what you see, become a volunteer, become a supporter, and augment our voice.
Right. So how do they get a hold of you? What's the website?
AccessYouthAcademy.org.
That's pretty easy to get to over there. Shout out again the April 13th. April 13th? Is that
Correct.
Just shout that out again.
Yes. Our gala this year is April 13th. We'll be doing this in a very special location. Our good friend Robin Toft opened her house for us to host our event. If you're interested to see what we're doing, not only for the gala, but for our event, for our program, you can also email me, Renato at accessyouthacademy.org. I'd love to get you involved.
That sounds good. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming in. I know you drink out of a fire hose, literally, because you're so busy with this, and it shows with the great work and the impact you've had with our students and their families. And what's so cool about it, and we're on to do these things here at Spotlight on the Community. It's just not that one student. It's all the tentacles that one student is going to be touching now in her his or her family, but also in the future. So congratulations on this great work. We know we're going to have you back on sooner than later, bringing in maybe one or two of the students that have participated, maybe an alumnus at all, to talk about how successful this has been. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Thanks for inviting me. I love coming seeing you. I think this studio is fantastic, and the work that you do is really special. Thanks for shining the light on all of us.
Well, you're very, very kind, Renato. Wishing you nothing but great success. Renato Paiva, Executive Director of Access Youth Academy. I'm Drew Schlosberg, as you've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast. For now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing terrific things for us folk here in San Diego County. We hope you enjoyed the show.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.